What's up, everyone? Alex here from Computer Headquarters, and I haven't been making very many videos over the past few years, but I just got the itch today to make one about some car stuff. The last video I made, I sold my C8 Z06. I haven't bought any cars since, other than a Mercedes-Benz G280, 1980s G-Wagon, basically. I bought it from the YouTuber Legit Street Cars. I should make a video about it at some point. It's broken right now. When I fix it, I'll probably make a video. In any case, I've been really itching to buy a sports car, and I did buy one. And this story video is gonna be about like how did I go from probably buying a GT3 Touring to buying a Supra, my first Toyota. So I am going to switch off my ugly mug to a really advanced high-end map that I made just for you guys, and it's going to kind of follow the story here. And I also have all these tabs at the top of like all the stops along the way of the different dealerships and cars I drove. So stop number one, Porsche Carlsbad. And so here we are on the map. This guy right here. I had been in communication with Porsche Carlsbad for probably over a year. Porsche had released a YouTube video about their new GT3 Touring. It's like the 992.2 or something, basically, the refresh, where they're adding the back seat, and they had a new green color, and everything about it just spoke to me. I was like, that's the car for me. And it's been a while since I had my GT3 RS that I sold, that I owned for 3 years, and was really interested in getting another Porsche. So, and I still own a Porsche. I haven't made any videos about that. It's a project car. So I won't talk about that right now. But anyway, Porsche Carlsbad, I have a little bit of a history here because I was supposed to buy a GT3 RS from them like 6 years ago. I made a YouTube video about this. They kind of did me dirty, so to say, in my opinion. Wasn't very happy with it, my experience with them, because we agreed on the price of a GT3 RS. And then when I told them I wanted to use Amazon Leasing, a third-party leasing company, they kicked me to the curb, so to say. We've been in talks. They seem to kind of want to rekindle a relationship with me, and I wanted to rekindle a relationship with them. And so we were working toward getting me a GT3 Touring that I would order brand new from them and spec to my specifications. So I've been texting them about for probably a whole year to the sales rep I had. Every month I'd say, any news, any news, any news. And then finally got a phone call a couple weeks back from a different person who I've never spoken with before, who said, congratulations, your application is ready. Let's spec out your car. And I was super excited. Well, he also said that the price was $75K over sticker, and my memory was that it was not $75K over sticker for the previous time we had talked about it. I know it was like a year previously. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he did say that originally to me. I don't think he did, though. Which was like I said, a different person. I thought it was weird that a different person called me after all the text messages and everything. I had been in communication with the other person. I know he got promoted, but still, I think it would have been professional of them to at least call me and say, hey, I want to introduce you to this other person who's going to handle it, but good news, we got you the car. In any case, that didn't happen. The price seemed to be higher, and to me, it felt like he was hiding behind somebody else. I think in the car world, they call that a turn. In any case, I was not happy. I said, no, thanks. And so my disdain for Porsche Carlsbad continues. And now I kind of wanted to look at what other cars are out there. And that brought me to down the street from Porsche Carlsbad is Toyota Carlsbad. So here on the map, you can see here's Porsche, here's Toyota, very close to each other. And they showed on their website they had a Supra in stock, a red one, brand new with a manual transmission. I wanted to drive and see how the manual transmission felt. I know it's a BMW, quote unquote, but I never really liked the Supra because of the transmission, and now they came out with manual. I was into trying it. So go over there for the test drive at Toyota Carlsbad, open the door, and it's an automatic automatic. I'm thinking of like the shifter in the middle. I immediately saw it was like the DCT shifter, and there's paddle shifters on the steering wheel, and I'm like, nope, this is not what I came here for. Bye. And I left, and they were hollering at me as I'm leaving back to my car. Well, we could find one for you and all this other stuff. And I was like, I'm out of here. Okay, so then I drove over to BMW of Carlsbad, as you can see, is over a little bit to the side. On my way home, all these places are very close to my house. And I had seen on their website a few days earlier that they had an M4 manual transmission in stock. And to me, I'm like, well, I wanted to drive the Supra. An M4 is very similar, but it has the S58 motor instead of the B58, which makes like something like 100 more horsepower. I've owned tons of BMWs. I like BMW. I want to go give that a try. So I parked there, walk up to the sales guy, tell him what I wanted to do, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we don't have that car. No, that's not here. We don't have any manual BMW M4s." And I was like, "Well, M3, M4, either way, it could be a 4 door or a 2 door, like whatever it is I got. They're gonna drive the same. I'd like to drive that. Oh, we don't have any of those." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he took my information and said he'd call me when a manual comes in. Well, that was that. Went home. The next day, I went on the internet looking at Auto Trader for Supras and saw that Kearney Mesa Toyota had a orange 45th anniversary manual Supra, one that looks just like this in these pictures on Reddit. And it looked cool. It actually had an aftermarket exhaust, and made an appointment. Went down there and I test drove it, and I really, really liked it, like way more than I thought I would. Insanely impressed with the feel of the Supra. I couldn't believe how much I liked it. So I left the dealership with smiles on my face and said I would get back to them if I decided that was the final car I wanted to go with. On my way home, I was going to, so this was now down south, and so Toyota was down here, and I ended up going to BMW of San Diego to check if I could test drive an M3 or M4, since the Carlsbad dealership said they didn't have any. And so I stopped by here, and this was, I'm going to try to say this as fast as I can because I could probably make a whole video about BMW of San Diego, but in college, I worked at a BMW dealership, and so the BMW of San Diego was like one of our friend dealerships in the San Diego area, but it was the biggest one, like the most prestigious. Like everyone knew that BMW of San Diego, if you're like in the BMW world, it was like the best one in the area. Very fancy. And I had a 335i, and that's where when I was at San Diego State for college, that's where I would take my car for service. So I'd been there tons of times, and like there were work related things I was doing with them, with like car trades between the dealerships where I would drive the cars back and forth. Anyway, I always had such a good view in my head of BMW San Diego, and oh my God, was it so downhill now? Like the service, I walked around the lot, I walked through the dealership, I waited at the receptionist desk. No one would help me. There was no one around. All the salespeople were like on their phones texting, not even paying attention. It was very strange. I eventually found someone and asked if I could get a salesperson, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I'll be back." And like some guy that I had seen texting earlier came over to me, and then I went to his desk and told him what I'm looking for, and he was just like, "No, we don't have that." I also looked around their lot when I was bored trying to find help, and they had no sports cars. Basically, I don't think they had any M cars in the whole lot. Anyway, that wasn't good. Next day, I made an appointment with Mercedes Benz of Carlsbad. So I had gone home for the day from the BMW dealership. The next morning, I test drove this 2025 Mercedes AMG GT 63. So they make AMG GTs in like the whatever, it's a smaller motor one, and then they make the 63, which is like the big boy. And the big boy one's like 225 grand. So it's pretty expensive. And a lot of people seem to be big fans of these. And I drove this, and it was nice, but it's not $225,000 nice, guys. Like this car should be. I hate to say this, and people are probably gonna not like this, but it felt like $125,000 car to me. It just didn't feel like that was that special. So it looks good, and of course, part of the driving this for some people is like, look at me, I drive a Mercedes, and that's not really my style. So I was glad I drove it to just see what it was like, but it's just not for me. Okay, so that was up here, the Mercedes we drove. And then I went to Ferrari of San Diego, down here, way south again. So back by where the Toyota dealership was and that BMW dealership. Drove down here to Ferrari of San Diego to test drive a GTC4 Lusso. And thankfully, I had a good contact there. A guy named Hunter who used to work at West Coast Exotics. If you've ever watched TJ Hunt's videos, he's had Hunter on his channel quite a bit. I sold Hunter my GT3 RS when he worked at West Coast Exotics many years, not many, 3 years ago or whatever, and stayed in touch with him a little bit. He was really, really nice. If you guys have ever been to a lot of different car dealerships, you probably would think that Ferrari dealerships would be very like hoity-toity and like not approachable. But both times I've been to Ferrari of San Diego, complete opposite. Like really good experience, really nice people, very open to test driving. Just really, really everything's great about being there. It makes me want to buy a Ferrari. I wish Porsche was like this. Porsche is so opposite of Ferrari with the nice experience. Okay, so went there, test drove the GTC4 Lusso, and it was a good car, but it also like I was expecting if I was going to buy one of these that I would really want. I'd have to it'd have to grab me. So I told you when I drove that Supra, I was like, "Wow, this is so much." Like, it grabbed me, guys. The Supra really grabbed me, and obviously you already know I bought one. So, but the GTC4 Lusso just, despite the V12 and all the Ferrari-ness about it, that was awesome. One of the things I think that really hurt it to me was the steering wheel knobs and buttons and stuff was just maybe I don't know if overwhelming is quite the word, but it felt like too much, too busy, and kind of distracting, especially for a test drive. Almost like I should have watched a 20-minute YouTube video to feel comfortable driving the car. It just had too much going on. It was a little busy. I guess I drove a 488 like 6 years ago, and I loved it. I don't remember feeling that way. Okay, next car I drove after that is I drove over to Audi of San Diego. So the GTC4 Lusso that was at the Ferrari San Diego sold. It looks like I didn't see it on their website anymore. So then I went over to Audi San Diego. These guys were so nice, great people. Met the general manager. They're like, hey, we don't usually test drive. A lot of people said stuff like this. We don't test drive these cars. I said, I'm like a real buyer. I can show you my credit score and all this stuff, and proof of finances. And everyone was pretty good. Like everyone I worked with was great, and they let me test drive. So be ready also to always show proof of income and things of that nature if you want to test drive an expensive car. But yeah, test drove the R8 V10, and it just same as some of the other cars didn't grab me. The V10 sounds really good. I'll give it that. One thing I really did not like. Let's see if I can look at these pictures and show it in a picture. Well, this website's terrible. It says there are 32 images, and where are they? The pedal box where your left foot would rest is so cramped for some reason. I don't know why. Your left foot, where you would want it to rest somewhere, feels like it's getting pushed over to like where your right foot would be when you're braking. It's really tight down there, and I didn't like that. I know that's a weird reason to not like a car. That wasn't the only reason. Also, just like, again, didn't really grab me. And this was kind of where I was starting to realize, like, I think I just really want a manual transmission car. You know what I mean? Like, these automatics are just not really grabbing uh my feels, or whatever you want to call it, like the things that I want. Yeah, heartstrings. I don't know what you want to call it, like the things that make you really fall in love with a car. Nothing was really grabbing me. So I told the story about the GT3 problem I had to the Audi guy, and he's like, dude, like my best friend works across the street at Porsche San Diego. So again, this is Audi San Diego here, Porsche San Diego. They're like in the same parking lot. He walked me over. It was so nice of him to do this. Walked me over, introduced me to this guy. I told him, hey, he's got this thing that happened with the Carlsbad place. Maybe you could help him. And he tried. So I met this new contact at Porsche San Diego. Guy was super awesome. Like one of the coolest car salesmen I've ever met. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, their price ends up being exactly the same as Porsche San Diego, or sorry, Carlsbad, 75K for sticker. So we didn't really land on anything for me to get a deal done. So that brought me back to BMW of Carlsbad. I was already here, right? Well, I went back on their website and to check it. Is that manual car actually still on their website? Because if it is, maybe the guy just doesn't know what he's talking about. And it was on their website. So I called again and I got a different guy and told him what happened. And he's like, "Yeah, I don't know why he told you that, but we definitely have one. It's on the roof of the building." But it's in our system and it's up for sale, and you can come by and test drive it. So on my way home from which the last car place I was San Diego, Porsche San Diego, I drove back up north, back to my house, stopped at Carlsbad BMW of Carlsbad, and was able to test drive a BMW M4 rear wheel drive manual transmission. And you would just assume that if I really liked the Supra, that the M4 would be that much better, right? Well, it wasn't. I don't know how to explain some of this stuff, but the everything about the BMW felt like too tight in a bad way. I don't know how to explain it better than that, but like the clutch and the shifter, it just wasn't smooth. And I'm not trying to say it's smooth like old man wants a smooth ride, like um but like just smooth. Man, I wish I could explain it better. I'm not finding the right words. I apologize, guys, but it's something about like the daily when you're daily driving something and you're shifting gears and stuff, and everything just like feels like it's in tune or something, like it's just working perfectly. Whereas like the BMW, like that was the Supra, but the BMW felt like notchy, like things didn't want to go, like gears didn't want to shift, and the clutch felt like not good or something. And I googled this, and they do have, while they kind of have the same manual transmission, Toyota actually tuned theirs differently, and I think that I think that's the difference. That's just my opinion. Of course, the M4 has like 100 more horsepower, and I didn't really feel that horsepower. I wasn't flooring these cars. These are regular test drives, and I don't think it matters. I think the everyday daily driver feel of the Supra is just better. And you can tune it like crazy if you want to, if you want more power. So that led me to what I was gonna assume was buy the orange 45th anniversary Supra that I showed you earlier, and I figured I'd check Auto Trader one more time. And so that's what I did. Here was the search I used on Auto Trader. I looked for Supras, manual transmission, and um, man, I wish this car right here would have been there that day, because this is a really good price. 52,500 with only 3K miles and a manual transmission is insanely cheap, and it's only like 600 miles away from me. I would fly and go buy that car, but the day that I was shopping, this wasn't here. But what was here was BMW of Honolulu for $51,000, manual transmission, 2023 blue, 5,000 miles. I think I just said that. Only $51,000. And so, but it's BMW Honolulu, Hawaii. And I'm sure most people see that and they're like, oh, it's in Hawaii. I can't drive it across the ocean. But I do a lot of shipping for my business, and I had an inkling, a feeling that if I offer them a deal of, hey, if I pay your asking price and you pay for shipping, let's do a deal. And that's what I did. I called them up. I said that to them, and they were like, oh, yeah, no problem. Done deal. I've wired them the money. The car, so it's a blue Supra 2023, 5,000 miles, manual transmission. It'll be here in about 1 month. So there's a lot more paperwork and stuff involved when it's going across the ocean, but I'm looking forward to getting it and driving it and probably modifying it as well. I also saw that there's a dealership here still showing about 55K, Toyota of Norwalk, but I have called them, and this isn't too far away from my house. But this was in an accident and repaired, and I just didn't really like the story behind this one. So that's how I ended up with my first Toyota, which isn't here yet, and I'll probably make another video once it gets here, or maybe multiple videos. And in the period of all this happening, now Toyota's announced the new GR-GT, and holy smokes, guys, come on. Like, look at this car. It is absolutely amazing looking. I don't know if you guys watched the press release. There's a video. There's a whole bunch of stuff about this, but V8 twin turbo with hybrid, rear wheel drive. Interior looks amazing. It's not manual, but it is what it is. There aren't too many manual sports cars, especially that look like this. This looks like a supercar. Now, the next part that's interesting about this is I immediately thought, well, how much is it going to cost? Is it 100K? Is it 200K? Is it 300K? And this Car and Driver article I read says it's about 500K. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to, no, thank you. There's so many other cars I'd buy for 500K first before this. Now it doesn't make any more sense, right? But then, and then I watched the Dude in Blues video, and he also said it's probably going to be way expensive, like 300 grand or something. But then this video came out today from Top Gear, and they literally have the cars with them, and they're saying in their title of their video, 100 pounds, British pounds, which is about 140K USD. So that's the price it really, in my opinion, before options, that's the price I really think it needs to be if they're going to sell, like we're trying to sell 2,000, 5,000 units, not limited production. Like we're actually trying to sell units and pump these out, and get these on the road. That's what they need to do, is they need to sell it for a price like that. So I hope that's real. I will 100% buy one of these if that's the case. I already sent an email to one of the dealerships I met through all this process I've been talking about and said, can I get an allocation? And he replied already saying he will let me know as soon as possible. But I am really excited to potentially buy one of these cars as well. And tell me, I guess at the end of this is like, What do you guys think of all this stuff? What have you driven any of these cars? Do you think I'm crazy? Do you also love the new GRGT? And that's about it. That's the end of the video. Thanks, guys.